Voyager 1, humanity's farthest spacecraft, has detected 300 mysterious alien objects in deep space, indicating the potential existence of intelligent life elsewhere. The odds are overwhelming, and it is possible that these sightings date back decades. If not, it could lead to multiple civilizations on Earth. The Voyager 1 spacecraft continues to play a pivotal role in the exploration of our solar system's outer planets, even as it sends data about its travels back to Earth. This groundbreaking revelation could have significant implications for the future of space exploration, as no one could have predicted 47 years ago that the probe would still be so influential. The Voyager missions utilized the unique alignment of outer planets, which occurs once every 176 years, to make the most efficient use of their limited fuel. NASA initially intended for the spacecraft to travel beyond Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter, while other probes were to travel past Uranus and Neptune. However, budget constraints led to a cutback on these plans. The Voyager spacecraft were equipped with 2 golden records containing sounds from whale calls to Chuck Berry's music and spoken greetings in 55 languages for potential alien encounters. These 12-inch wide gold-plated copper discs also included schematics illustrating how to operate them and the sun's location relative to nearby pulsars. A trio of radioisotope thermoelectric generators transformed the thermal energy emitted by plutonium's radioactive disintegration into usable electricity. The spacecraft carried 10 scientific instruments, including a magnetometer, 2 camera image systems, various spectrometers, and equipment to detect low-energy charged particles and high-energy cosmic rays. There have been 11 scientific investigations conducted aboard each Voyager, using the communication system to learn more about the planets and moons. Voyager 1 nearly ran out of fuel during its launch on September 5, 1977, but after a risk-free launch, the probe sped past its twin and went beyond the main asteroid belt between Jupiter and Mars before Voyager 2 could catch up. The probe transmitted its initial images of Jupiter to Earth in April 1978. In March 1979, Voyager 1 surprised NASA by detecting a tiny ring encircling Jupiter, leading to the discovery of 2 other moons. The large Galilean moons of Jupiter, Europa, Ganymede, Callisto, and Io were captured in great detail. Voyager 2 found that Jupiter's moons were dynamic, independent worlds, uncovering intriguing new information about these naturally occurring satellites. Images of Europa returned by Voyager 1 revealed a mostly flat surface with lines running across it, suggesting the presence of ice and possibly an ocean beneath. In February 1990, Voyager 1 turned back toward Earth and captured an image of its home planet from 3.7 billion miles away. This photograph serves as a constant reminder of Earth's insignificance in the vast, infinitely large universe. In August 2012, Voyager 1 entered interstellar space, leaving behind the heliosphere, the enormous bubble of charged particles that the sun blows around itself. Researchers discovered that Voyager 1's surroundings had a higher density than what is found just inside the heliosphere. After retracing their steps through Voyager 1's records, scientists settled on August 25, 2012, as the formal departure date. Since its launch, Voyager 1 has been providing valuable information about the interstellar medium. It has discovered high levels of cosmic radiation and evidence of charged particles generated by stars, and those originating from the Sun. NASA has been amazed by Voyager 1's capabilities as it has effectively oriented itself to communicate with Earth using its backup thrusters. However, as the attitude control thrusters started to fail, NASA opted to use the trajectory correction maneuver thrusters, which allowed Voyager 1 to remain operational longer. To preserve its limited power supply, the mission crew disabled the onboard cameras soon after the pale blue dot photo was captured, and 5 additional scientific instruments were turned off in November of the previous year. In November 2023, Voyager 1 stopped transmitting data to Earth, suggesting that it was no longer collecting engineering or scientific information. Fixing the fault of the universe's most isolated spacecraft is challenging, as problems arose when the probe suddenly stopped relaying data between the stars. Commands transmitted from mission controllers take 22.5 hours to reach the probe, and the engineering crew must wait the same period again for a response. Over 5 months passed as NASA worked on the issue. In March, the initial intention was to offer the spacecraft a digital poke similar to a doctor using air puffs to identify cavities in teeth. The Flight Data Subsystem, one of Voyager 1's 3 onboard computers, was found to be malfunctioning, producing gibberish instead of providing scientific and engineering data. NASA had to find a different space in the Flight Data Subsystem memory to store the troublesome code. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory has officially declared Voyager 1 back in service. Voyager 1's next significant encounter will occur in 40,000 years when the probe comes within 1.7 light-years of the star AC plus N793888, or GLE 445. Instead of sending Voyager 1 to Proxima Centauri, which is 4.22 light-years away, it was directed towards GLE 445, which is 1,758 light-years away from Earth. No effort was made to direct Voyager 1 towards other objects beyond the solar system. After passing Saturn and Titan, the history of Voyager 1's operation since 1980 can be attributed to an extended mission developed after the initial mission's completion. The remaining systems on Voyager 1 and 2 will enter a safe mode when the power level drops below what is required in approximately 5 to 6 more years. If the computers are not operating, the signal will be lost, and Voyager will lose alignment with the high-gain transmitter to Earth. If ongoing guidance is not provided, the computer will turn off completely. After another 800 years, the craft will reach space temperature when the plutonium RTG cores have reduced their heat output to less than 1% of its initial output. About 39 millennia from now, Voyager 1 will pass within an unimpressive 1.76 light-years from GLE 445, as it will pass the Sun with over 2.5 light-years distance to spare. As Proxima approaches its closest proximity to the Sun, it will begin to move away again in around 10,000 years, making the journey nearly 30,000 years longer. Crossing the 4.22 light-years would take Voyager close to 990,000 years at its current rate of travel. Scientists have chosen the star that will provide the earliest closest encounter available in the next 100,000 years. The search for a small fraction of space may not have been successful due to the vast reach of the universe and the possibility of extraterrestrial intelligence running its own CD program. Electromagnetic communication travels at the speed of light, but not all signals are equally strong. The transmitter's power and signal frequency determine the maximum distance a transmission can cover. Although it is a popular science fiction concept, it is unlikely that extraterrestrials will be able to pick up our wayward television signals. The first television transmissions likely made it beyond our solar system, but by the time they reach interstellar space, they are faint and nearly impossible to detect. Humans have intentionally transmitted multiple powerful signals into space, sparking discussions within scientific and ethical circles. One concern is that our entire species and planet are entrusted to a few individuals, which some ethicists argue is an inherent unfairness. Another problem with messaging extraterrestrial intelligence, METI, is the difficulty in predicting what kind of aliens could be listening to our signals and what they might be trying to accomplish. There is a chance that we could be discovered by an advanced alien race trying to conquer the galaxy or by a more benign race interested in sharing knowledge about interstellar travel, power generation, or other technologies that could change the world. Experts in space policy argue that it is not sensible to invest resources in METI, as we do not know what would happen if we establish contact with intelligent aliens. However, it is possible that we will be discovered by aliens looking for life beyond their own planet. The possibility of life's existence elsewhere in the universe remains one of the fundamental and unanswered mysteries about our reality, and it may not be up to us to solve that mystery. The Pentagon's department dedicated to searching for unidentified flying objects, UFOs, has been a subject of speculation and research. According to Sean Kirkpatrick, director of the Pentagon's Anomaly Resolution Office, potential visitors could be deploying smaller probes during their close encounters with Earth. This operational strategy is similar to how NASA conducts its space missions. Kirkpatrick collaborated with Avi Loeb, a well-known astronomer from Harvard University, who stirred up a storm of discussion about Oumuamua, a mysterious interstellar object. Loeb openly supported the idea that it could be an alien probe, suggesting that there could be hundreds of similar objects like Oumuamua lurking in our solar system, some hidden in the Kuiper Belt, others in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, and even some potentially submerged in our oceans, lying dormant. Loeb further suggested that there could be a mind-boggling 4 quintillion Oumuamua-like objects cruising around our solar system. While he did not definitively state that Oumuamua was an alien craft, he urges us to remain open to that possibility. Considering these ideas, Another interesting possibility is the Kuiper Belt, a remote region of our solar system beyond the orbit of Neptune. There are countless objects in the Kuiper Belt, including 15810 Orion, a celestial enigma that has captured NASA's attention. In April 2016, NASA's New Horizons probe turned its attention towards Orion, which follows a peculiar trajectory, prompting speculation about its true nature. The mysteries of the cosmos continue to capture our imagination as we search for answers. Among the distant reaches of space, NASA's New Horizons probe took a closer look at Orion, but as it got closer, all of its sensors suddenly went dark, and its transmissions cut off. It was as if something or someone didn't want it snooping around. Just before losing contact, NASA noticed something peculiar. Orion was spinning like a spaceship. Some speculate that it might be an intelligent alien civilization quietly observing us from the cold, dark depths of the Kuiper Belt, disguised as a regular old space rock. However, there are reasons to lean toward the latter explanation. Oumuamua's discovery was odd, and its motion matches the average motion of material in our part of the Milky Way galaxy. Orion and Oumuamua remind us that there is still so much we don't know, and perhaps the truth is out there, waiting to be discovered. Reports of strange aircraft and humanoid figures have persisted in the news, but are often swiftly dismissed or ignored. Testimonies originate from eyewitnesses, making them undeniable. In conclusion, the Pentagon's Department of Exploration continues to investigate the possibility of extraterrestrial life and the existence of strange objects. The Mount Rainier incident, a significant event in UFO history, began on June 24, 1947, when Kenneth Arnold was flying from Boise, Idaho to Yakima, Washington. He was surprised to see 9 unidentified flying objects approaching Mount Rainier, which formed a long, linked chain reflecting sunlight as they moved. Kenneth estimated they were about 20 to 25 miles away and couldn't spot any tails on them. Despite facing ridicule for his detailed account, Kenneth remained steadfast in his claims. In 2006, at O'Hare International Airport in Chicago, a United Airlines worker spotted a dark gray metallic craft hovering over one of the gates before shooting upwards into the sky. It's puzzling how such a craft managed to evade detection by the airport's radar system. The Federal Aviation Administration dismissed the incident as a weather phenomenon and declined to investigate further. In 1952, there was widespread concern about flying saucers following a surge in UFO sightings and reports of alien abductions. Washington, D.C. was a hotbed for these rumors, and the Big Flap of 1952 became a major news story. Numerous unidentified flying objects were reported flying past prominent landmarks like the White House, prompting the deployment of 2 F-94 jets to investigate. However, whenever the jets approached the mysterious objects on radar, they would mysteriously disappear. On October 21, 1978, an Australian pilot vanished without leaving any trace behind in an event famously dubbed the Disappearance. On October 4, 1967, something mysterious crashed into the waters near Shag Harbor, Nova Scotia. Witnesses reported seeing an object fall from the sky with a whistling sound followed by a loud bang. Another interesting account came from 2 flight pilots and a ship captain aboard Air Canada's Flight 305, who observed a strange object flying alongside their plane, described as a brightly rectangular shape with smaller lights trailing behind. Shortly after the sighting, similar incidents occurred in France in July 1965, where a French farmer named Maurice Mass had a remarkable UFO encounter while taking a break from work and smoking a cigarette outside. Maurice saw an object descending from the sky and landing in his lavender field. Upon closer inspection, Maurice saw an oval-shaped structure standing on 4 legs with 2 small figures, each about 4 feet tall. One of the figures even pointed a device at him, leaving Maurice frozen in place. After a while, the creatures boarded their flying saucer and flew away from Maurice's lavender farm. Despite the story appearing unbelievable, there was some physical evidence left behind in the area where the object landed, including a hole in the ground, damp soil, and higher calcium deposits in the flowers. These signs suggest that Maurice was truthful about his encounter with the flying saucers. Lieutenant Colonel Richard French, who investigated UFO sightings for Project Blue Book from 1952 to 1969, shared a personal UFO encounter with Congress in 1952. In Newfoundland, he witnessed two circular crafts floating just below the surface and observed two beings working on them underwater. This account challenged our understanding of such phenomena. On November 23, 1953, an Air Force disappearance occurred near the Canadian-US border. The Air Defense Command noticed a blip on their radar indicating an unidentifiable object in restricted airspace over Lake Superior. An F-89C Scorpion was sent out with two crew members, First Lieutenant Felix McLean and Second Lieutenant Robert Wilson. They faced difficulty tracking the object, which constantly changed its course. Ground control assisted them in directing their aircraft, and the Scorpion jet pursued the unidentified object for about 30 minutes before converging into one. The unidentified flying object veered off and disappeared shortly after, and the first and second lieutenants piloting the F-89C disappeared with their aircraft, never to be seen or heard from again. In March 1996, the chilling tale known as the Project Grudge Report 13 saga unfolded at the White Sands Missile Testing Grounds near the Air Force Base in New Mexico. Major William Cunningham and Sergeant Jonathan P. Love encountered a spine-chilling event at the missile testing grounds. The Pentagon released a report that poured cold water on the idea that the U.S. government might not be alone in the universe. The report claimed there is no evidence the U.S. government has ever encountered alien life and suggested that most reported UFO sightings are misidentified ordinary objects. However, journalists and experts who have dedicated their lives to researching the subject disagree with these claims. The Historical Record Report is the first volume of a probe conducted by the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, a government agency established in 2022 to address various threats, including unidentified objects in space or the air. Despite widespread interest in the report, news outlets were not allowed to attend the meeting where it was discussed. The Gremlin system, a deployable surveillance system developed over the past year, has been used to gather information about unidentified objects reported in airspace or underwater. The AARO claims to have found no evidence of a secret UFO program, but insiders believe high-level government officials may be aware of such programs. Some whistleblowers plan to present information contradicting the report's conclusions. The government continues to investigate reported sightings, receiving over 100 cases monthly from various sources. Skeptics remain unconvinced about the depth of the investigation and question the story's depth.